What is going on, guys? Carter here with Edge Mindset. So we're going to be talking about a couple different things in this video. One, I am going to be showing off this absolute banger beauty of a knife right here. I want to show it to you guys. I want to get your opinion on it. I'm sure it'll be somewhat mixed, but we'll see. But I also want to talk about kind of, one of the things the dead horse that I'm constantly beating on this channel, not beating off the dead horse that I'm beating, because anyways, I'm not going to dive deeper into that joke. I was about to go another level, but that's too much. All right, pull it back. It's Saturday. Don't ruin people's days, even though I have no idea when this is being uploaded. But I want to talk about kind of legacy knives and custom knives and I don't know. This channel, I have a lot of kind of conflicting things with kind of modern Chinese-made production knives, overseas production knives. This isn't the best example of what I'm thinking of. But then also kind of custom knives, legacy knives, USA-made knives, things like that, right? It's a constant battle. And the reason I talk about it so much, aside from the fact that I think you guys respond to it pretty well, it's a pretty polarizing topic that people like to talk about, is the fact that I myself am kind of conflicted with some of these knives. I appreciate, I'm going off on a tangent here, I appreciate kind of the precision and the affordability and the quality of some of these overseas made knives. And before I start, wearing gloves, because I have eczema going on right now and it looks gross and people hate that, and so it's better to wear gloves than talk about that. And I bring that up because that's the number one comment I'll get is I get comments like, man, I would never, if I have to wear gloves to handle a knife, I would never buy that, stuff like that. I don't wear gloves to handle these just because I'm on camera and you don't get to see my fingers. Anyways, all right, back to the topic at hand. I appreciate the precision and things like that with kind of modern overseas production, but there's just that something that brings me back to kind of these kind of knives. And so I want to kind of bring that up here. So this is a custom Mick Strider Custom XL right here. Very, very cool. We will kind of run over what we're looking at here. So this is a Yeti grind, right? Which signifies the oversized, recurved, oversized sharpening choil with kind of the shorter Tanto tip right here. This is named after a guy named Ralph. I'm not going to put his last name just because, I don't know, it feels weird given other people's last names. A guy named Ralph who's a friend of Strider, right? So I was able to get this story right from Mick Strider himself, which is kind of leading into the story here. Yeti is named after a friend of Strider named Ralph. He's a very big, hulking guy. His nickname was Yeti because he was so big. And so Strider wanted to name a knife after him. And so they debuted essentially this right here. I believe this is the first iteration, this time period. I don't mean this knife, but the time period that this knife was made was the first iteration of what we would call the Yeti right here. And I wanted to get clarity from Mick to say, what exactly is the Yeti? Is it this knife and this knife alone, where it has the full tie flat scales with the milling around it in this pattern here, whether it's a flat or domed pivot, or is it just this blade shape? Can it be the recurved blade shape? And essentially what he told me is it's the blade, right? It's this blade right here. But like a lot of things with Strider, they name things after friends. They name things after military people that they respect, that have amazing stories. They name finishes off of nicknames. I mean, their main logo is called the FWP, which is Flying War Penis, right? It's the one with the sword and the wings. It's been called the Flying War Penis because it somewhat resembles a penis with wings, and the company uses it. That's what they call that logo. It's not even something that just fans call it. That is what the name of the logo is. Because one thing you have to keep in mind with Strider is it's still to this day and always has been kind of a garage family type endeavor. Even when they were a full production company, it's still that sort of mindset, right? It's a bunch of buddies making kick-ass cool knives, and they don't take themselves too seriously. They don't spend a lot of time saying, we're going to call this knife this, and it's a special blah, and it's got these rules and these finishes, and, they kind of just do whatever. So back to the story here. We've got kind of a cool finish on here. So we got the tungsten carbide that has been put onto the flats here. And then we have what looks like some bluing acid etching that's been kind of speckled onto the grinds here. Never seen this exact finish before. I've seen it where they kind of darken the whole blade and then do like a tumble over the top of it. And this does have a tumble as well. But it looks like this one's more like flicked on there, which is very, very cool. This also has the Trizula grind right here, which that has a whole story on where that comes from. I can talk about that later, but it's kind of it's a martial arts oriented feature on these knives. When you're using this in a self-defense capacity, you like cut with it, and then anyways, I don't want to get into the gory details. It's actually kind of gross. And then this one has a notch cut into the spine as well. So kind of just a lot of cool stuff going on. Double gunner grip on the XL here with a two-tone anodization. So you've got bronze on the peaks right here, and then you've got a nice purpley blue going on inside. No idea how they did this, because I believe they do all their anodizing with flaming, and these colors don't really make sense with flaming. So I'm not sure how exactly they did this. If anybody knows for sure, let me know. What I mean by that is usually the thinner pieces, like the peaks here, would be hitting a higher temperature faster than the valleys, but bronze comes before blue purple. So yeah, I don't know exactly how they did this, and you don't see this, and you can see on the sides here too, this is all bronze. So somehow they did like a true dual anodization. But if you look in the cutout here, this looks very much like flame anodization. So I'm not quite sure what's happening here. Maybe it's just a cool effect that they're able to do. I don't know. But very, very happy and very cool with this. So on to the story. I picked this up at Blade Show West because I'm, online friends with like Forrest, and I chat with him a little bit. And I was able to, through another friend, get a maker's pass so that I could go around to the booths before they officially open. And I beelined it right to the Strider booth to say hi to the guys, see what they had available. And they had this beauty here, which I had seen on Instagram, and was like, this is the one I need. Talk to Forrest. He's like, yeah, I'll hold it for you, threw it in his backpack. So those kind of interactions are like what makes the knife thing cool, right? Like objects are objects. And you could argue that, just as a stand-in, you could say, well, this is a better knife-like object, right? It's got bearings. It's maybe a little bit more precise. There's no misplaced anything on here. It's like perfect and flawless and all these things. And like I said, this isn't the best example because Ramon Chavez is an awesome, awesome guy. But let me grab something else. All right, there we go. That's a much better example. This is the Tack Knives Intruder, I believe. Really amazing knife. Like, for the money with this textured, contoured, full titanium, bearings, lock bar insert, magna cut, pound for pound, this thing is astounding for under $300. In fact, I think with the discount code, I paid $225 or something bonkers. And when you compare it to the cost of something like this, which by the way, any Strider knives that I feature, I've never received a Strider for free. I'm not promoted by them. They watch my content. They're supporters here. They've hooked me up with some deals, and they've allowed me to kind of build a knife direct from them, but none of it was for free, because I've had a few people comment they're thinking I'm getting this stuff for free, and so then they're asking me to bro, pay it forward, send me something or give me something 50% off. It's not the case at all. I'm paying for stuff. This one in particular, they really hooked me up with an amazing kind of bro price, but still, it was still a lot for this knife, right? Amazing deal for an XL custom Yeti, but still, I paid a good amount of money for it. Anyways, back on to what I was saying. So this is a really cool, amazing knife for the money. Pound for pound, knife for knife, objectively on paper, you would say, oh yeah, go with this, right? Way, way, way cheaper. Arguably, more modern. It has all the features and stuff, but I can't have a story like I do with this knife. And I follow Tack Knives on Instagram, and I listen to the designer. It sounds like a really cool guy. Like, this isn't some necessarily nameless, faceless maker. I've seen him. I've heard his voice. He seems like a really cool guy, but it's just not the same as the interaction you might get with this, as well as the people that you would meet at the Strider booth. You know, the fact that you can kind of meet the whole team and have a relationship with them and just all of that extra stuff, right? That's the hobby side of knife collecting, because I've said this before, at the end of the day, we don't need any more damn knives. Like, if your objective is just to get the best knife object for the money, it's like, what are you doing here? Like, go buy this thing and cool, you're done, right? The whole point of this, all this nonsense, all this weird stuff about buying all these knives, the whole point of all of this is the friendship, the people, learning things, working with makers, working with companies, seeing them at shows. Like, that's the whole point of this. Honestly, these could be a proxy for a lot of different things, right? The hobby is the community, right? The friends, the people you meet, the people you meet along the way is what makes these this hobby so cool. So anyways, off my soapbox, that is a look at this really cool Yeti right here. This is, one of those knives where, unless my kid is starving or like I can't pay my mortgage, I guess, I'm not going to ever sell this knife. This is a story knife, right? And granted, it's not like a crazy story knife. It's not like I was in Africa hunting big game and then this knife saved my life. Nothing like that. But any knife where I've got some sort of story attached to it, it means a lot to me. And honestly, there's only like 3 or 4 in my collection that meet that criteria, and 2 of them happen to be Striders. So, take that for what you will. But comment down below, what do you think of this knife right here? I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, kind of this super aggressively worn kind of battle style pickup thing right here, right? Looks like an old piece of steel. But I think the precision of the grinds and then the juxtaposition against this beautiful purple bronze double gunner grip scale kind of really balances it out and makes it look very, very cool. But I don't know. I want to hear from you guys. Talk to you later. Comment, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. See ya.